content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
What's good, everybody? You know who I am, man. I'm the G with a PhD. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, with no chasers, man. Now, before I get things started, I got to give a shout out to all the haters out there. What's going on with y'all, man? Hope you're having a blessing. Hope you're having a good afternoon. I assume. And if you are just coming in, man, make sure you like the video, man. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button so you can stay abreast of what's popping on the Green Gorilla channel, man. And, I got to get the preliminaries out of the way also along the lines of all the supporters of the Green Gorilla channel. Thank y'all very much, all the members of the channel. Take care of that business. I want to give a shout out to Rais Muajid, True King 337, Life of Commerce, Brian McMurray, Apex Prowler, Karan S, The Average Black Man, Anthony Davis, and BGS Ibmore. Big up to y'all. Big up to Raphael Brown, Professor Carlton Jones, Lionel Jean Louise, Artisan MC, Damon Brown, Donnell 360, Herbert Lewis, Seven Coast Dojo, Rogish the Buildmonger, and Destro 1. Big up to y'all. Big up to Pulpit 28, Michael Ross, Charles Rogers, Papa Didas, Travis King, Adam Williams, B. Hillfire, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean 955, and Brotherly Love 215. Big up to y'all. Big up to Charles Gilmore 3, Patricia Colley, 7Q Pick, Kwaku Asasi, Gregory Oliver, Greg, Antonio Ferrier, Barry Little, Alan Wiley, and Mr. Valentino. Big up to y'all. Big up to Jason Hales, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Omni Americana, Cameron 87, Deshaun Nolly, Brian Peaks, Nelso. Mike Tomlin is the hottest. We all know you, Kareem. Shout out to Doc LaRock, J. Charles, Mark Holt, Lee Ways, Jeffrey Speed, The Face, Mark Swift, Show Me, and Odd Collard. Big up to y'all. Big up to Donald Watts, Cozy Corner, HipHop.CATV, Coach DC, Kashif Caldwell, I Am Black Man, Nichita, Mr. Blue Collar, Barnolas, Kyle J. Sura, I'm Just Jules, TD Hip Hop Media, and Drew Main. Big up to y'all. Big up to Mr. Heat, Afro Shop, Sir Anthony, ML Law, Universal 178, Black Swerve 404, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, C Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, Arthur Unknown, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalan Jakala, Ricky Dawson, Cedric Bowman, True 7360, BK Born Shaheed, James Washington, Hostile ADEP, W. Pierre 1, Marvin Battle Jr., and I can't forget my brother in heaven, Force Windu. Big up to y'all. And on the Patreon side, I got to give a big up to Javon Thompson, Tyrone Hampton, Jules Winfield, Dornell Smith, Excalibur, Jason Warren, Soul Pen, Pursuer Prisoner Taz, Kwaku 217, Dragon 59, Supreme Ibmore, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, Momal, and the Sangwa. Big up to all y'all, man. Y'all deserve a round of applause, man. Thank you so much for your help and your support. And if you're wondering about how you could, help support the channel and help support the content, well, here's how you do it, man.
What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels
where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, we back. You know who I am. I'm the G with a PhD. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men get to express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers. So, before we begin, let me issue a trigger warning for all those who might get triggered. I'm just saying. Because this might trigger you. You understand? This one here might trigger you. But, I'm not trying to, get anybody upset. But if you get upset, it is what it is. But, I'm going to talk about the dangers associated with sexual display. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And to be quite honest, I'm not going to do most of the talking. I'm going to let somebody else do the talking. In fact, I'm going to let a feminist do the talking. I've mentioned this feminist before. She's a feminist I can actually, to some degree, come to terms with and agree with on a variety of different issues. Her name is Camille Paglia. She's an American feminist, academic, and a social critic. And she works at the University of Arts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She's, again, critical of many things that go on in contemporary culture. And she's the author of a book called Sexual Personae, Art and Decadence from Nefertiti to Emily Dickinson. And she's wrote several other books, but she is a critic of contemporary American and I think in general just Western feminism. And she's a critic of post-structuralism. I don't want to get into the intricacies of what post-structuralism is at the current moment, but just suffice it to say that she gets it in, okay? And she's also, a commentator on different aspects of American culture, the visual arts, meaning, Broadway plays, the movies, television shows, music, film history, stuff like that. So I'm going to let her do the bulk of the talking. Of course, I'm going to stop along the way, but, Camille gets it in. So let me stop this music real quick. Camille gets it in. And I just want you to listen to what she has to say. Because, a lot of times, and I hate to say this, but I think it's true, it's like we live in a pre-Oedipal culture. And if you don't know what that means, go look it up. Pre-Oedipal, before or prior to the Oedipal stage in psychosexual development, man. Meaning, most boys that grow up in this culture are not weaned off their mother's breasts, man. They haven't even reached the stage of conflict with their fathers. A lot of times the fathers aren't even around. This has the effect of grinding down boys to become the kind of men that women want. These are the facts, man. But every culture in the world is not like this, I guarantee you. They're not like this in Afghanistan, I can guarantee you that. They ain't like this in Kabul. I guarantee you that. They ain't like this in China. Everywhere in the world is not subscribing to these ideas, these doctrines, and these principles and this ideology. But, I'm going to let her do the talking, like I said, and I will stop the video from time to time to, give my own spin. But it is what it is, man. Let's listen to what she has to say. And, let the chips fall where they may. I'm going to try to refrain from vulgarity because I don't want this video to get pulled or anything like that. I want this to stand. But because, again, we live in this pre-Oedipal type of culture, oftentimes men can't say the obvious and they'll listen to what a woman has to say. Maybe if it comes from a woman, particularly a white woman, what the beacon of purity and goodness and rainbows and sunshine. Maybe you'll believe it coming from one of them. Now, I'm being facetious, man. I'm being facetious. And I see Mark Nelson out there. He says, how do you spell pre-Oedipal? It's like Oedipus. Take the Greek spelling. Like Toya the Tutor. She got it right. So Mark Nelson, look at what Toya the Tutor has put down in the chat. She got it right. Okay? So anyway, man, let's get on to this, man, and see what she has to say.
So when feminism was reborn with Betty Friedan in the late 1960s, I thought this was supposed to be about the liberation of women. Instead, I really hit a wall of the closed minds, the kind of the new fanatics of second wave feminism. I had already signaled my revolt by my passion for Amelia Earhart. When I was in high school in the early 1960s. There were so many women who were achieving and who attained a tremendous celebrity in the period of the 1920s, 1930s. That, to me, is my favorite period in feminism, okay? Because these women admired what men had done. Okay? There was no male bashing.
So basically what she's saying is, look, she already said she came into her own as a feminist in the 60s, but she lionized and modeled her kind of feminism based upon a model of equality that did not employ male bashing in the formation of its principles and did not take up that kind of misandry in relation to its tenor and its tone. Basically, she admired the women of the 20s and the 30s. Okay? So let me push on with this, man.
Became systemic, to second wave feminism, It's an absolute poison that has spread worldwide, A feminism based on denigrating men, trivializing, what men have done, defining men as oppressors and tyrants through history, It is an absolute lie.
Boy, I gotta give her a bomb. There you go. It's a lie. Right now, we live in a culture that just basically, in every shape, form, and fashion, takes digs at men. And the movement responsible for it is second wave feminism. And she's basically voicing her objection to misandry within the context of second wave feminism. Now, unfortunately, second wave feminism has stretched its tentacles out worldwide. It's everywhere now. It's expanding. It's spreading like a rash. But is it historically accurate? Is it nuanced? I told you yesterday, to me, it resembles Manichaean dualism, Zoroastrianism, or, almost a Marxist dualism. You got the male bourgeoisie, the female proletariat. You got the female oppressed, the male oppressor. Like if that's the, way that you view the world, there is something sick with you. you can't just lump people into categories and make references to their malevolence merely because you ascribe a category that's so blunt. It's just ridiculous. But I mean, at least she's voicing, her disagreement with that kind of foolishness and ridiculousness. So let me keep pushing.
There have been crimes against women. Where they have occurred, we must condemn them, right? But men throughout history have given their lives, okay, and their labor for the support of women and children. Okay?
Say it again. Men throughout history have given their lives and have directed their labor in support of women and children. These are the facts. These are the facts. But there's no appreciation given, no lionization transmitted, just constant disdain and invectives and diatribes being issued. Like, what part of the game is that? What part of the game is that? But, let me keep pushing.
So this is an element in second wave feminism that to me is an extrapolation of neuroticism on the part of these fanatics, okay, who have been attracted to this movement. Okay? So
and that's the thing. You got a lot of people, man, who've gone through a lot of trauma and have a lot of psychological issues who gravitate to this way of thinking, this ideology. And, it's filled with neurosis. If you can categorize and carve the world into poles and just bluntly ascribe negative qualities to men and all positive and beneficial and, positive qualities to women, that's just absolutely absurd. It's an absurd worldview. But this is where we are. This is where we are. Let me keep pushing.
My generation arrived in college. I arrived in 1964 in college, and the colleges still believed they had the right and obligation to act in loco parentis, in place of the parent. Therefore, the women's dormitories, women were compelled to sign in at 11 o'clock at night, so we were safely inside. The men could run free, for the whole night. We're the ones who said, get out of our private lives. And the colleges said, no, the world is dangerous. We must protect you against rape. And what my generation said, give us the freedom to risk rape. That is true adulthood, okay, for women.
Uh-oh! Uh-oh! So basically, in her generation, especially, for bourgeois women attending university, going to the academy, when they went there, the administrators and the faculty, for the most part, treated them like children and made them sign in to curfew because they did not want to expose them to harm. And one of the founding principles of their movement was that, look, we are adults. We want to risk danger. We don't want to be paternalized. We don't want to be protected. We want to risk danger so as to assume the positionality of an adult. But nowadays, it's almost like we've entered into a regression. We stepped into a time where you can't even say anything that might potentially offend a college student for fear that that student may report you and try to get you in trouble because, you hurt their little teeny bitty feelings. You made me feel uncomfortable. What you said was violent. When did Americans become cupcakes, man? And especially, when did women who declared themselves to be feminists, which are all about equality and autonomy, when did they decide that as it pertains to interactions with men, that they have to be safeguarded at every turn? If you look at any movie right now, you're going to see some scene that implies that some woman is exposed to danger by means of rape. I guarantee you, bruh. I was watching Respect the other day. There it was there. I looked at Raising Canaan, Power, 50 Cent. There it was there. I mean, everywhere you look, there it is. Everywhere you look, there it is. So I'm giving you a feminist so you can look at it, because I research this stuff, man. I don't just, skim through it. I peruse it diligently, eruditely. And I just so happen to be in agreement with Polly on this. Either you want to be free or you want to be little girls. Like, which way is it? And this is what she's trying to articulate here. You want to be free or you want to be little children? You want to be coddled? You want safe spaces? You want people to come and, monitor and guard over you and lord over you and chaperone over your life? That's what you want? Let me keep pushing, man.
Now everything has regressed, and I do believe it's because nothing has really happened, to this generation. They have not had that initial experience that my generation did of war, and there's I think it's a result of the world of social media also, where people feel they have so many friends, and they want a sense that reality is comforting them and cushioning them and so on. I think there's a great anxiety and a sort of weakness of outline of the personalities of young people. They do, to me, look like as an experienced classroom teacher of 45 years. I mean, I'm starting to self-censor as I speak to them. I'm starting to, it's not that I give trigger warnings or anything like that, but I do feel that they are easily upset, and that their education has been without a realistic introduction to the barbarities of human history, right?
That's what I'm saying, man. I've said this before. Especially this generation of Americans, we haven't undergone any major stresses. Not for real. I mean, we know war, but we know war from a volunteer army perspective, where, no more than a quarter of the members of the military are given, duties for tours and stuff like that. It ain't never hit home here, man. You don't know how crazy the world really and truly is. And so you take what this is for granted. I guarantee it, man. She dropped the bomb there, man. I ain't give her props for that one though, but she dropped the bomb. I ain't give her props for that, but she deserves one for that. We haven't been through anything. I mean, COVID, okay, well, that's something. But, I mean, do you think there was like mass terror and angst related to that? America's never been invaded by a foreign army. I mean, yeah, you got 9/11 or whatever the case may be, where you had the Twin Towers attacked with airplanes, through acts of terrorism. But, that's a one-off situation, like a one shot. We ain't never been through the gauntlet, but we assume that we never will. And Christopher Clipper says the War of 1812. Well, you know, those guys did. But I mean, like, within the 20th and the 21st century, man, we haven't gone through anything for real, bruh. Especially after World War II. We went off to Vietnam. That was only traumatic to the men who went there. It wasn't traumatic to the people at home. You had a lot of people protesting the Vietnam War, but Vietnam didn't come here. See, there's people out there in the world who have been battle-torn for millennia. Case in point, the people of Afghanistan. In one way or another, these people have been exposed to wartime conditions incessantly for millennia. At least for 2 millennia. We're talking about the Persian invasion, the Greek invasion. Alexander the Great went into Afghanistan. We don't know that kind of trauma. So anything gives you trauma. The people are looking for trauma when they don't know anything of the kind, of the sort. So you got a whole generation of cupcakes with soft-ass feelings who are looking to demonize and stigmatize. It's like a neurosis. This is one of the safest times in history, especially for women. This is Camp Yum Yum, man. And they making it like it's a Little Shop of Horrors. And that's what I don't get. I don't understand. I can't really fathom it. But, you know, I guess somebody, you know, somewhere has decided that it's easy to create a demon, even if the demon is a member of your own family. And not to say that, you know, there can't be evil within the context of your own family. Maybe, perhaps. But let's be truthful here, man. We don't know what rough life is about. We ain't about that life right now. We ain't had it hard, man. We got AC, supermarkets, malls, computers, microwaves, iPhones. This is Camp Yum Yum, man. This is Shangri-La. But everybody's triggered. People are uncertain. People are insecure. People have neurosis over stupid stuff. But that's just my opinion. Let me keep pushing.
Feel that ancient history must be taught, okay, and that there's too much presentism right now. Right? They see a comfortable world around them, the world of the shopping malls, a world of material prosperity, right? And they believe that by any problems in the environment can be remedied by just a little using a screwdriver, slightly turn a screw, all right, and soon utopia, you know, will happen. They have no.
Bam, another bomb. You got a lot of people who, you know, for a lack of better terms, man, they have no grip on reality. They live in their ideas. That's where they reside, in their heads, in their ideas about what the world should look like. And they feel as if they could tinker around with policy and ideas, and they feel like they can really change the trajectory of human nature that has been building up for millions, literally millions of years. How are you going to be able to do that? Within the context of what? A generation? Now you're going to change the whole game. I guess the French Revolution, boy, really got some people really optimistic about the potentiality of ideals and the reshaping and the rehashing of political institutions. So you're going to throw off the weight and the momentum of evolutionary biology by means of your ideas that you learned at the university. You about to change all that. How you gonna do that? That's what we're saying. Like, you're trying to change the game by sticking your finger in a hole in a dam. How long do you think that finger in that dam with that hole is going to actually stop the water from spewing out that dam cracking and overflowing? How you, man, that's all I'm saying. And I think she's spot on here.
Sense, okay, of the special privileges they enjoy in this very affluent, culture. So I believe in introducing young people to the disasters of history. But just when second wave feminism suddenly was burst out in the late 1960s and early 1970s, there was this claim being made by feminists that the history had been censored and that soon would be rediscovered all these unknown female geniuses in the history of the arts. And there really was that belief out there. So there was like this search for the undiscovered woman Michelangelo and so on and so forth. Well, there is no woman Michelangelo. My first.
Damn. There are no women Michelangelos. And it's not that women don't have the capacity. It's that they don't have the drive. And it's not that, women, they lack the ability. It's just that they don't have the pressing obsession that men do in order to be successful. They're not as competitive as men are. And there's evolutionary biological reasons, perhaps, for which this is the case. And, it's funny because I guarantee you, man, there are a whole bunch of women who honestly believe that, okay, there's been like a cover up throughout the annals of time where men did everything they could to prevent women from being the best version of themselves that they could be. Like men just did the most they could to suppress them and to prevent them from being able to blossom and bloom. This is just absolutely ridiculous. If that's how you view history, you have a warped sense of history. Distorted view of history. There's a reason why men are obsessed and have a drive to excellence in ways that women don't. Because women's identity is more intimately connected to their bodies than is men. And she's going to talk about this, man. Women, like a girl knows. The moment she has a period, she knows she's a woman. Men don't have that benefit. Men are consistently trying to prove themselves, to establish their identity, to give weight and meaning to their lives. They don't just sit back and say, oh, I'm good. Everything is fine. No. Sometimes men become obsessed with achieving a goal. And yeah, there are a lot of male idiots. And this is something that, has already been said. There's studies on this. Basically, men appear on the intelligence spectrum at, extremes at both poles. You got a lot of male idiots, but you also have a lot of male geniuses. Women are in the middle of the curve. This is not to say that, women don't have the capacity or the ability. They just don't have the same drive. Because they don't have the same physiological and psychosexual constitution as men. But these people believe, oh, all we got to do is argue along the dictates of post-structuralism that everything in the world is mediated through language. If you don't know what post-structuralism is, man, go check it out, man. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos on it, man. You got some French guy named Saussure, and then you got Lacan and Derrida and Michel Foucault. Those are the ones who created this whole post-structuralist philosophical orientation. And then it was picked up by feminists and really introduced to them by a woman by the name of Judith Butler. She's the one that came up with this concept of the separation of, sex and gender. She's the one, I think, I think most people in the academy would agree that she, is the one that carved out that lane and drew out that distinction. So you mean to tell me that, men are hardwired the same way women are when we have absolutely different physiological compositions? And if it was the case that it was nothing but language, then why are people who making transitions going to get hormone treatments then? Huh? If physiology ain't got nothing to do with sex, then why can't you just decide unilaterally, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to change my sex. And then perform like the other person without hormone therapy or anything. Why? But I guess I'm saying too much on that. Let me keep pushing, man. So we got about 10 more minutes to go, man. I'll talk all night.
Book is about what is the nature of artistic creation, and what is the nature of genius. And I said that men have indeed made most of the major landmarks in the history of the arts, and I tried to explain why. I said it's not because women have less talent, but that men are driven toward hallucination, obsession, diversion, from the priority of women's power over them. And I have all my theories about men's conceptualization that may indeed be related to the intelligence range. That is that women tend to show up at the great midpoint of the IQ range. And you have male geniuses and you have male morons, literally. And I also said that to me, crime. That crime is a conceptual activity, serial sex crime, and so on. And that this is and I said there is no female Mozart because there is no female Jack the Ripper. You just do not find women showing up as the serial murderers. So I think that the ideation is one of the products of the male mind, and that there's a pattern of projection, that I relate. And this, people were incredulous about this, but I still maintain it. That men learn how to project, through their own anatomy. That Freud talked about male urination, as a kind of accomplishment, that primitive man prided himself on his ability to put out a fire, with a stream of urine. And I said that it's a strange thing to be proud of, but it's beyond the scope of woman who would scorch her hams in the process of trying to put out a fire, with urination and so on. And I do believe that male maturation is about controlling those streams, the streams of urine, the ejaculation, and so on. And if a man doesn't control it, he will soil himself in an infantile manner. So I believe that the male pattern of urination is indeed at the heart of. You eventually get to Michelangelo. You're going from that and so on.
And she's talking about Michelangelo, creating fountains and stuff like that, where you got the cherubim urinating, and but the whole point she's trying to make here is that men appear in the poles of genius to idiocy, whereas women occupy the middle. Not to say that there aren't, women who also appear at the bottom. But they're outliers more so than men in relation to the whole distribution of the curve related to people appearing at the poles. They don't have the same kind of mental hangups that men have and the same drives that men have. And a lot of times, men, if they don't have these distractions, if you want to call it that, or these obsessions, they're absolutely spellbound by the women in their lives. That's why the most successful men, I mean, they may have wives, but they're not kowtowing in absolute obedience to the women that they're associated with. And if they are, how would they ever have time to even do anything, to accomplish anything? If you don't have an immaculate obsession with something outside of the context of a relationship, my dude, you are screwed, bruh. Real talk. Because a woman will have you going around in circles. These are the facts, man. I'm not trying to be ignorant by saying this, okay? But most men have figured this out. Like, I got to have a world of my own where I'm excellent in it without the context of me having to constantly reassure you. I got to have something. I'm driven to do something above and beyond to demonstrate my manhood apart from relating to you. And most women really don't understand that because they feel like they are the center and everything is a satellite revolving around them. Especially in contemporary culture. You talk about black culture? My God, everything revolves around the matriarch. And if it doesn't, then there's all kind of passive aggression, resentment, disdain, disbelief. How can a man ever get anything done if he's constantly having to deal with conflict associated with the woman who's supposed to be a support system for him? But hey, you know, what do I know, man? Let me keep pushing.
And I have seen in my own lifetime now, I'm like getting into my senior years here, that I've seen many talented women. I knew many extremely competent and promising women, but what they lacked, was the power of obsession. Okay, there are very few female obsessives. I think I'm one. Okay, and so on. But so I'm an odd sport. Okay, but I do feel I'm in between the genders. And that there's a kind of life deranging quality to artistic achievement, where it's a mania, an absolute mania, and it produces rapists, and I believe that feminism by second wave feminism, by hiding, by concealing, by suppressing the evidence for sexual difference, is actually exposing young women to danger, because they do not imagine that there are psychotic males who are looking at them as prey, who actually see them through primitive eyes. They don't understand that. We're like decades away from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, 1960, which is about exactly these things I'm talking about right now. So I think that there are tremendous sexual differences based in hormones, based in biology, that need to be brought into the gender studies curriculum, that are now erased from it. Gender roles are now being maintained as fictive constructs, the result of environmental pressures and so on.
She's exactly right about this, right? Look, you go to any women in gender studies program now, they're going to tell you that the reason that there's an inequality amongst men and women is owing to the fact that, like, women have been taught to be submissive, and they've been taught that, they ought to be demure and they ought to be soft, and that, they can't be what men can be. But, again, like, there have been studies where even in the most libertine countries, where the most liberal nations and, where gender equality is pushed the hardest, where women typically tend to choose leisure, or they don't work as much. They don't work themselves to the bone in order to prove and demonstrate their worth, because they know that they have innate worth especially if they have the ability to procreate. They don't have the same kind of mental hangups men do in order to demonstrate their worthiness. People pretty much give them worth just by their mere existence. Find them valuable just because they are. Now, how many men give that kind of value? How many men are going to be respected and admired and honored just because they merely exist? I'm asking the question, like, how many dudes are going to be honored just by the mere fact that they exist? How many? You know the answer.
Don't you think everyone's obsessed with the idea that men are hormonally driven to attack?
No, not the hormone. No, they believe it's coming from social indoctrination. Right. They believe that men are born to a culture that privileges maleness, which is not at all true for many recent decades, right? And that they learn and therefore we can retrain them. We can indoctrinate them to change. You say, I'm the only one really talking about the biological roots of it, and there's, to me, absolutely incontrovertible that there is a biological basis to the greater visual component in male sexuality.
Boom, another bomb. It ain't no strange secret, man. Men are visually stimulated by women. That should not be a strange secret, man. And you got a lot of people out here who are men who are psychotic, who don't know how to control their primal urges. And then you got a group of women in the academy, bourgeois women, who really haven't studied anything other than philosophy. And look, I like philosophy, but philosophy by itself is not the answer. It's one way, one heuristic, one narrow frame of viewing the world. But it needs to be buttressed. It needs to be supported by an interdisciplinary approach that takes into consideration a variety of different disciplines in order to make sense of reality. So you have to look at biology, evolutionary biology. You have to take lessons from psychology. But this is not being done. We're coming up with like fictions like there are no differences between men and women. And that if there are any differences, then those differences have been imposed by culture. And World Life says, yeah, men stalk a lot more. But not to say that women don't stalk, but men do stalk a lot more. But what do people stalk? Now, there's a lot of women stalkers out here too, though. Don't get it twisted. When they fall in love, or they get infatuated or whatever the case may be, they'll be there. They might show up and cut you and tear your car up or some other stuff or try to run over you with the car, okay? But the reality is men are visual creatures. And right now we live in a culture where there are a lot of women who are out there displaying their bodies. Not just the people in their immediate sphere, they're cavorting around showing their bodies to everyone for money and for likes and for social media status. They want to be an influencer or, they want to be a stripper now. They want to be that girl now, that hot girl, that it girl, the city chick or whatever the case may be. This right here, sexual display, is dangerous. It always has been dangerous. It always will be dangerous. Am I justifying it? No, I am not. But you have to understand what comes along with what it is that you're doing. You have to be careful. But you can't be careful When your body is on display everywhere, and every moment, every second, every minute, every hour you can, you use it as an object in order to acquire other objects. That's why women in some cultures, man, they keep them covered up. And yeah, Polonius, Polonius, I'm not saying that there aren't any femme fatales out there. I know that there are. I know that there are. But damn, we have to be like just honest about this though. Because there's a lot of weird ass dudes out here. It's a lot of weird dudes out here, man. But you can't even discern who the weirdos are from who they're not. And a lot of times, man, these women are taking risks to get bread. And they're not even being smart about it. Everybody knows your face. Everybody knows your body. And let me tell you something, man. Let's just be honest about this, man. And this is not said very often. But all them Instagram models, man, they got men like straight jacking off to them, man. Let's get that out the way, man. You got men who are masturbating to your images in the 100,000-fold. And then you are actually communicating with these guys through instant messaging and getting money from them and stuff like that. You don't know what's going through these cats' minds. You can't even discern who you're talking to. You don't know how to filter it. You really don't. You can't filter it. Then people know about where you live, like you live in this city, you live in this area, in this city. But let me keep pushing though, because I want to get through this, man. I want to get through it.
All right, there are brain differences here. Okay? The males really do see the visual. They were aroused visually much more than women are. So the study of the male gaze. Okay, first of all, Laura Mulvey is a very nice person. Okay, but I'm sorry, she knew absolutely nothing about the history of the arts, and therefore this sudden creation of this idea, which is like contaminated all of film criticism. Okay, oh my goodness, okay, so film criticism is practically not worth reading, any longer because it utterly lacks any kind of cultivated basis. But now, wait, we're going on a diversion here, okay? As I go on about that, okay? I do believe that there is a vestigial hunting archetype still, okay? And that's the way to look at it. It seems to me the male gaze, and that women of today. Who have been raised in a highly sexualized environment with highly sexualized clothing, a product of my own generation's sexual revolution, do not understand that the way you dress and how much flesh you expose is a form of communication.
Oh. The way you are dressed and your body signals, we're not even talking about at the level of consciousness. We're talking about at the level of unconscious body or somatic interaction. People forget we're still animals. I don't know why people forget this. We still have animal urges. Did you eat today? Did you eat today? You're still an animal. Did you urinate and defecate today? If you're a male, did you get an erection? Did you have sex today? That's an animal act. the way you comport, if a man sees a scantily clothed woman being provocative, what that signals to that man at an unconscious level is that this woman is ready to have sex. Period. She is sexually available and she's ready to get it. Now we can talk about all the, enlightenment, philosophical thinking and, how we're supposed to be human beings and we're over, the animalistic stage of development. No, we're not. We're not. I think the biggest sickness of humankind is to, convince themselves that they're no longer animalistic. We do everything we can to try to hide this fact from ourselves, but it cannot be separated from who we are. And some people are able to, sublimate their physical drives and desires, their animalism, but some people don't know how to. And everybody, who's a human being falls weak to the flesh at some point. I know that for a fact. Lady T says you can't blame women because men don't have control. Look, if you know that men don't have, most men do have control. Most men have control. This is the point we're trying to make. Most men have control, but they're outliers who don't. And women know this shit. They're not lost on this fact. They're not stupid. Women know this. But you can't change that fact that there are sick and psychotic men out there. You can't change that with moralism. You can't change it with education. You can't change it with prescriptions. You can't change it with movies, plays, books, none of that. You can't change thousands of years of evolutionary biology and animality to conform to the way you wish the world should be. That's why you lock your doors at night. Nobody should steal your car, but you ain't gonna leave it running with the windows down in the hood. Nobody should take your necklace in the hood. But if you out there flossing, flaunting it, showing it off, then if you get robbed, you ain't supposed to get robbed, but you're taking a risk. And you have to know the risk that you're exposed to. The world is a dangerous place, man. It ain't a safe place. That's what we trying to tell you. The world ain't safe. It ain't never been safe. It ain't gonna never be safe. I told you that's why rhinoceroses got horns. That's why cat got claws. It's why sharks got teeth. It's why wasps have stingers. Because the world is a dangerous place. And yes, human beings are dangerous to other human beings. This ain't a Bonobos society. You can't change the world through your ideals alone. That's why I would tell my child, man, don't go out there showing your ass like that. Don't go out there showing your behind like that, putting it on display for everyone to see. Because you know what? Somebody's going to get the message that you was a hot girl. Don't be out there twerking on the tables in restaurants because somebody going to think you a dog in heat. And this is not blaming the victim. This is just to say, come on, man, you can make smarter moves. This ain't the first and it ain't gonna be the last. This is what I'm saying. But let me let her keep spitting. Because you can't take it from a man. So that's why I brought you this woman to hear it. And she's a feminist. So maybe you listen to her. Or like Tupac say, maybe you listen in this casket, you ignorant bastard. Shout out to Mike Rashid. Shout out to Man Friday. Thank you for the donation. I got my head buried in what I'm doing though right now. Let me proceed.
It's a form of conveying sexual interest or readiness. Now you talk like this, and people will probably lynch you, right now. Okay, I mean, I'm part of the pro-sex movement in feminism that was suppressed. Okay, during the 1970s, 1980s, we burst forth in the 1990s, thanks to Madonna, in her videos of the 1980s and early 90s and so on. All right, but the point is, I also understand, okay, that even while I support and defend and admire pornography and prostitution, I feel that today there's this idea that women can dress however they want. Okay, it's utterly meaningless, and I'm like exposing 90% of my flesh right now. But how dare you be aroused? How dare you look away? How dare you? Do not make a remark. Okay.
That's what we saying, man. That's what we saying. I got on some tight ass pants, my ass fat as a motherfucker. We know that is in this culture, something that arouses people. And we know what these women work in the arousal business. They're selling sex. They know this. But there's a danger associated with it. And you can't eradicate it. It's not something you can just educate people out of. Whether you like it or not. It's just like you can't come into the hood looking like you're $1 million without having some protection. It ain't fair, but it's how it is. It's the way that it is. Shout out to Mr. Palmer. What's good, man? Maybe you got off that couch today, man. You know what I'm saying? What's good with you, brother? But, and shout out to BGS. I saw him out there as well, man. Shout out to him, man. All I'm trying to do is say, man, look, right now there's an attitude out there that women, especially women like who are like the most attractive kind of women, feel that they could just parade around their bodies and shit, and that, men should not at all be able to be aroused. They shouldn't be aroused at all by the shit. They should be like disconnected somatically from the message and the signals that's being put out there. Because, if a woman is bending over, shaking her ass, to me, that's a sign she wants to get it in. That's a sign of sexual readiness, is it not? Is shaking your big old ass in front of a man's face, is it or is it not a message that you're ready to get it in? Put 1 out there if it is, put 0 if it's not. I thought when a woman bent over and showed her ass, I thought it was about, okay, I'm ready to receive the rod, the staff. I'm just saying, if you bent over, gyrating like you a cat in heat, that's sending a subsomatic message to the brain of a man, whether he's got composure or not. And every man ain't normal, just like every woman ain't normal. You're gonna get some loonies out there. If you in the diamond business, you're gonna protect them diamonds with some guns, right? Because somebody gonna come take them diamonds if they not protected. Am I right or am I wrong? That's why they lock stores up at night, right? If you got merchandise that people want, you protect it, right? You protect it with guns. Or you protect it with fences and barricades. You make sure that there's no way they could get at it. So you better make yourself impervious to connection if that's what you're into. My suggestion is don't if you don't want the drama that comes along with that, you really don't need to be parading around like that. Because you're going to get that attention. And these women want that attention because they know they can get money from that attention, but you also got to know that it's danger associated with that kind of attention. And you ain't going to convince me that women don't know this. And the woman's name here is Camille Paglia.
As I go with my Louboutin, like it's stiletto heels down the road like this, okay? What? Okay, you're looking at my bum. How dare you? Okay, and so on. Right? Absolute. There's a hypocrisy, okay, and a kind of self-delusion, okay, that's operating among many young women, including feminists, okay.
That's all I'm saying, man. That's delusion. You got the goods. You walking around, bouncing them everywhere, bouncing around, bouncing. But turn away. I mean, all of your erotic desire, I want you to suspend it immediately because I said so. Huh? Like, are you serious, man? You're talking about a primal urge and you playing with it in order to get paid. You've commodified it. You commercialized it. But we got spirit. This is why it's necessary for people to understand the great faith traditions of the world and how they had attitudes and the rituals and the practices that they had to circumnavigate the practice of sexual interaction. But we suspend all that based on Enlightenment reason, because this is where all this comes from, the Enlightenment and extensions beyond it. This I know. Because prior to the Enlightenment and the whole idea of my body, it's mine, like you own your body, that's Enlightenment thinking. I can guarantee you that. Because prior to the Enlightenment, the king owned your body. You were his subject to his will and his whim. Go check the Divine Right of Kings. So a movement that came out in the Western world around the 17th century and the 18th century is going to change millennia. Hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary biology and psychosexual, like orientations. That's all gonna change in an instant, cause of some ideas that somebody got sitting in a fucking ivory tower reading Saussure or fucking Lacan or Derrida or Michel Foucault. That's supposed to change the world. Like, the delusion is just, it's ridiculous out here, man. But I'm here to keep the truth to the young black youth.
So I'm not saying don't dress like that. I'm saying yes, dress like that, but be prepared to defend yourself, okay? Because the street, I call my philosophy street smart Amazon feminism, okay? All right? The street belongs to you. Yes, you have every right, like as a drag queen would, okay, to dress as you want and to bring public attention to yourself. But stop lying to yourself that you're advertising, okay? You're advertising. And I've written before,
you know
if you
that
advertise, be ready to sell.
Bam. If you're advertising, you got to be ready to sell. Period. We call it demonstration where we from. Now, look, I done already told you my position on these women out here, man. Drag queens, transsexuals, whatever the case may be, trans people, whatever. You can do whatever you want to with your body. But understand, the world don't owe you protection. You got to be able to protect yourself. And if you are unusual, people are going to be drawn to you. But the Jack, she is LGBTQ. She is a lesbian. Now, I don't agree with everything she said, but for the most part, what she said thus far, I'm in agreement with. First of all, she established that second wave feminists are neurotic. They have a hatred for men, and that's absolutely absurd. That these women should have an appreciation for men. She says, I appreciate men. All the great artists and intellectuals, for the most part, have been men. And in the distribution of intelligence, men are either, like women are in the middle of the distribution curve, but men tend to either fall on the separate poles. Either they're absolutely idiotic or, they're geniuses. I mean, not to say that there aren't any men in the middle at all, but you see a greater distribution of men who are psychopaths and geniuses than you do see women across the board. That's the point that she's trying to make. She's also telling women, and you check this out now, I'm going to keep pushing.
Absolutely. The most controversial piece I ever wrote was my date rape op-ed, okay, for New York Newsday in January of 1991, and I was persecuted for that for years and years and years, and I've walked off talk shows live, and I walked off the Queen Elizabeth Hall stage, to avoid fisticuffs with a moderator who will not be blamed. Let's not name her.
Nameless.
Yeah, she was like one of the Stalinist feminists who infest London. Okay. All right, and I absolutely feel, okay, that if women expect to be treated seriously in modern society, if they expect to achieve, okay, they must accept full responsibility for their part in every encounter, potentially romantic or sexual encounter with a man. Okay, we're not talking here. I mean, I don't know this case. Okay, I keep hearing snatches of it. Okay, I don't know this case, but in my view, okay, we're not talking about a woman being snatched off a street who is going about her business as an innocent, and of course there would be a case of rape, and kidnapping, abduction, which one must condemn. Okay, but the moment you have private individuals who come together with mutual sexual interest, okay, in a context that can lead to sex, okay, I believe the women must accept full responsibility for their behavior and for what they are conveying in it. Okay, and it's mixing up of. That essay that I wrote on date rape begins by saying, okay, rape rape is an outrage that cannot be tolerated in civilized society. I begin with that premise and then go on from there to say that what's called date rape, okay, is to me a distortion, of proper feminism, okay, which is these are the freedoms that my generation won, the freedom for women to go out without a chaperone or a duenna, okay, and being simply a child as defined by society, okay. So we're in a period now where there's a tremendous mix-up. I absolutely reject the idea that the young women on dates or any woman on a date, okay, should be put into the same category, okay, as an authentic victim of rape who should reserve, should be reserved. Our true outrage should be reserved for. Sex belongs to the
now she said a lot right there. Damn, she said a whole lot right there. She talking about Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, or whoever else. All of these women coming out in years and years and years later about, come on, man, you out here sending signals that you sexually ready with your body. And then it's like you playing games with the shit. Is what she's saying. She's saying, like, if somebody's stalking you, you don't know you, all of a sudden you just get accosted and get sexually assaulted, that's terrible. Or even in the context of somebody in your family, that that happens, that's wrong. But if you're a private individual and you exposing yourself to an environment where you're not aware of what's going on, that's naive for one. It's delusional for two. Be aware. And men will tell you this. Like, what you doing over Bill Cosby shit at 1 a.m. for? What the fuck? The dude is married for one. You know he an entertainer. What you taking to drink for? Why you in this motherfucking hotel room drinking? Why? Why? Why you getting fucked up with this guy? Why you got on some revealing clothing, being coy and shit, being flirtatious around this dude? For what? Why? That's what I'm saying, man. Like, you gotta be clear about the signals you sending to men. And all communication is not just through language. That's one thing people gotta understand. All communication doesn't take place through the medium of speech or writing. You can give somebody a signal through your body language. And you come over to a man's house at 2 a.m. with your ass sticking out of your goddamn dress, that man's gonna be like, damn, she's sexually ready. Even if in his mind he's like, well, I have to observe all the rules of decorum and be a gentleman. He's still thinking with his body. I'm gonna keep pushing, man. We only got 2 more minutes of this, man. I'm done with it.
Verbal realm. It belongs to the realm of the body. Okay. Yes, it's an animal instinct rising, in the mind. Okay. It used to be that these ideas would have been common coin. Freud was talking about the whole realm of the unconscious, the subliminal, the dream life. Right. But Freud was written out of feminism early on. He was declared to be a sexist. So then also all of the ambiguities, okay, of human motivation, okay, and the way that Freud's idea about ambivalence, okay, where one can be of mixed minds, okay, about one's parents, about one's lovers, and so on. Also, Freud's ideas about family romance and the way that people are carrying forever the marks of their particular relationship as children to their parents. Right? And that's another thing, okay, that with Freud out of the picture, young women don't understand that they may become symbolic, okay, in a drama with a young man who is at the verge of achieving his own independent identity, free of his mother. Okay, so this moment of college is extremely charged, for young men. Okay, this is the point where the sexes are discovering who they are. Right? So women want it both ways. That's what I think that there's the lack of psychological acuity or subtlety in current feminist discourse has produced part of this problem. Now, at my experience with women, I've been a total failure as a lesbian. Let me tell you right now. Okay, I can understand. I really understand how maddening women are to men. Okay, absolutely maddening. I mean, a man can clearly read that a woman is interested in a sexual way by her body language and so on and so forth. All right, and then he makes a move on her, and absolutely not. How dare you, etc. I mean, I'm telling you, women are everything that men see in women. Okay, this quality. I have seen it. Okay, right? Because women don't have the marker of their own excitation. Okay, a man knows immediately. He gets a hard on, like immediately. He knows, oh, I'm interested. Okay, whether it's a gay man or a straight man. Okay, but women can be you absolutely can read their radiating sexual readiness, and then yet, oh, how dare you? Okay, so I'm telling you. Okay, all right. Men's frustration with women. Okay, is actually based in reality. So I mean, I do feel that. That right now, when you have this overbearing kind of this fascist intrusion by authority figures into declaring these are the rules of sex, you must transfer every possible sensory impulse or sensation into words. I mean, it's almost ridiculous. It's almost like we're reading a satire. Okay, you need a Pope or a Swift. You need to deal with the limited mentalities of these commissars of government and of universities who dare, okay, to intrude into young people's social and sexual lives. How dare they? They're vampires, okay? It's up to young people to rebel. Young people must rebel and say, get out of our sex lives, okay? Exactly the way my generation did.
Right.
I'll be right back, man. Coming in with a bang. But anyway, man, you got the gist, man. Thank you, T Fitness, for you, man. If y'all want to talk about it, you can for a quick minute, man. If you don't, I'm about to get up out of here. I left the link in the chat. I don't expect for a lot of conversation to come out of this. I know men, for the most part, really don't want to have a discussion about this. But, you just got to be aware of what you're doing out here, man, and the kind of messages you're sending. And every communication is not a language-based communication. And I said it because a white lady said it. Maybe you'll listen to her if you won't listen to me. PK Angel, what's cracking with you, dog?
Yo, what up, man? Long time no see. How you been?
Man, what's good with you, bro? You cool?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Yeah, man. Talk to me, man. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
Well, everything she has said, as far as I'm concerned, I largely agree with it. You know, the only difference that we have is mostly that she believes that feminism should have ended at the first wave, and I actually take on the controversial opinion that all of it should not exist because it breeds second wave and everything thereafter. But yeah, she's spot on as far as what these women tend to do, and for the most part, I think the only issue that she leaves out is the fact that they actually do realize exactly what it is that they're doing, and they want it this way. In fact, they want men to co-sign it, and for a large majority of well, not majority, for the last 50 years at least, we've largely co-signed it, knowingly or unknowingly.
I think, first of all, I think that, most men are going to leave women alone anyway because they do have some sort of control over themselves and they know what they're getting into, especially when they deal with the adult entertainment industry. They know. Most guys do, but some guys don't. And some guys get infatuated and they get caught up into the primitive. And, you take that risk when you're dealing with something primal. Sex is animalistic. It's primal.
Well, I would actually make the argument, and this is just my view, and this is based in evolutionary biology, is the fact that, for a large majority of human history, just not all history in terms of, in the last couple thousand years, but just human history, women like to say that they're not sex objects, but the truth is that, that's the way that this world works. I mean, when men have sexual urges that hit the back of the lizard brain. You know what I mean? When we see a scantily clad woman, it's just natural. And so this idea that we have somehow evolved past that is just a weird untruth, like you mentioned earlier, that has only evolved in recent history. That isn't the case, though. Not for most men. That's something that you have to consciously suppress.
Exactly. Look, I'm just saying, man, you come around me with a big old fat ass at 1 a.m. in my house and you twerking and wiggling it around, you're going to arouse me. Bottom line. And the women know this shit. Okay? And this woman, man, any woman in the adult industry, man, they know what they're doing. These Instagram models, they know men are doing perverted shit to their imagery. They know this. That's why they do it. They get paid for it. But you have to protect yourself when you're doing that. You can't be loose in your private life. You got to be always on guard. You got to be on point. And then you can't be associating with Johns, man.
No, they want you. No, the thing is that they want men to accept it and take responsibility for their actions. That's what's going on. I actually explained this earlier, and I was wondering if maybe you had heard me talking or something and got inspiration from that.
No, but see, I wanted to talk about this because, me and Dr. Neal talked about this on Sunday, I think it was. I'm not quite sure what day it was, but, I said I'm going to talk about this myself because... And what I'm going to do is use a heuristic, which is Camille Paglia, because she's already talked about it. But she's saying things that most men won't say because of the culture in which we live. And I mean, this is like only a snippet or snippets from a much longer video that she had about, a whole host of, intellectual, thoughts that she has about feminism and men and women in general. But I mean, I think that her whole argument is, look, when you look at the arts, and she's an arts professor, men are the primary developers and the progenitors of arts. Bottom line, and they're driven in a way that women aren't in order to produce art. And men ought to be admired for it. But there's danger in the world, and there's danger associated with men, with women, and women with men. There's danger everywhere. Like, this culture is delusional. The extent to which we think that everything is supposed to operate according to ideals and norms is something that we lie about. Especially women are lying about it. They gotta be lying about it.
They're not. I honestly, this is my take. I think that they're being open and honest with what they're saying. They're just not being truthful with what the intent is behind it. So to a certain extent, they do want men. They do understand that men view them sexually, but the difference is they want men to deny that sexual part of themselves and accept them, and essentially enforce what it is that they perceive to be true. That's what's going on here. So in a sense, they know that men are viewing them in a sexual way. However, they want you to compartmentalize that and essentially put that to the side and protect them from those who would be ne'er-do-wells, those who would actually take advantage of them. That's what they're actually looking for, in my view.
What they want is to restrain the behavior of men and to shape it in the way that they would like for it to be. Right? Like, they want to be able to have men operate under the principles that make them comfortable. Yep. And look, for the most part, they've been able to do it within the context of civil society, the kind of culture we live in now. They've been able to do it because a certain set of objective conditions obtain. Okay? But you remove those conditions, watch shit get medieval again. This is why, you got guys talking about, the winter is coming. You got guys talking about, the diesel season is happening again. And because men already know. Well, look, the conditions that exist in this culture at this moment are artificial and contrived. Okay? But everywhere in the world, it's not like this. And there are people, like, civilizations rise and fall. And while you enjoy, the trappings that come along with this kind of civilization, man, it ain't no guarantee that this is going to persist forever. I can guarantee you it won't. That's the facts. If you look at history, the oldest civilizations, the ones that were among the most permanent, eventually failed. Did they not?
They did.
Rome failed. They were the most mighty military power in the world for quite a bit of time. Alexander the Great in Greece fell. Persia fell. Egypt fell. Okay, Babylon fell. Nobody lasts forever. At one time, England was the world superpower. France was the world superpower. Okay, nations rise and fall in power. And the conditions which I obtain, look, better be lucky we isolated on the North American continent, because they probably would have been bum rushed this place.
Indeed.
Well, isn't it a little bit odd how earlier you mentioned with not just women but people advertising what they're selling? In the particular case of women, their sexuality. When a woman advertises her sexuality and a man responds to the advertisement, the woman can say, oh no, that doesn't mean anything, and she can play all the games she wants. But eventually, there will be a point where, like you said, the psychotic weirdo will come out and make maybe even a physically violent advance, and at that point, the powers that be can monitor and control the sex life of the general population, essentially controlling the reproduction aspect of a society. Isn't that weird in terms of where it lands in history?
I think it's weird as hell. But I mean, right now,
if I may I flip that coin?
Go ahead.
Okay, listen. Age 16, summer school, campus of Cornell University, Ithaca, New York. Okay, I was with a bunch of students, right? And we were going to summer school. We fucked up during the school year, so we had to make it up during the summer school, right? Okay, I'm the token black boy. There was a token black girl. Everybody else is white. Okay? We all hanging out. We are in the communal TV room, right? Everybody maxing, relaxing, watching the show and whatnot. Okay, so me and this girl, right? We sitting next to each other. And we like them sitting next to each other. We cool. All right. Before I know it, we making out. Okay. And she ain't got no problem with it. And I damn sure ain't got no problem with it. It was the first time I actually had sexual intercourse with a girl, and she was white. Okay. What she asked me straight up and down was this: Eric, would you like to go to my room? Yes, let's go. We left. Okay. Now, all the eyes in that TV room were burning in our backs. We knew it. We didn't give a shit. Okay. We wanted to get our groove on. We went to her room. We got our groove on. She didn't complain or anything. But when I saw her the next morning, right, the token black girl that I was telling you about, right, she said to me, she said, Eric, you know what? You need to go talk to A because, she's feeling kind of ashamed because you didn't say anything to her, right? And so I went over to her. She kind of had her head down. I went over there and talked to her. I said, well, how you doing? You okay? You all right? Was everything about last night? Was it okay with you? Yeah, it's fine. I'm just glad you came, and said something about it, so I don't feel
Dirty.
alienated, perhaps used. I don't know.
She didn't feel dirty
So yeah, exactly. So
after she did the dirty.
that was the situation. But the point I'm making is this: she didn't bitch and moan about it. She didn't play victim, really. It wasn't like she was bitching to the other girls there, or all the boys there to come with my ass. No, we enjoyed ourselves that night. Okay, and I remember another night, another evening. I'm in a room full of white girls, right? Okay, and one of these girls, she was so bold because it was in her dorm room. Okay, she's laying on her bed, panties and bra on. Okay, and she ain't under the covers. You understand? I'm sitting on the side of her. I'm sitting on the floor right next to her bed. I turn around and look at this. My damn jaw almost dropped. I said, no, Eric, keep your composure. This is her room. Okay. I like what I saw, but I didn't go at her. And the reason why I didn't go at her, even though she was displaying, in that case, I said, no, I'm not going to fuck with her because we ain't talked about nothing. She ain't said nothing about nothing. I ain't said nothing about nothing to her. I ain't said two words to her. I'll leave her alone. I checked out her body and looked her up and down from her eyes all the way down to her toes. It looked good. Okay, fine. I'm liking that I'm in this room full of white girls and we talking, we laughing, we joking and shit. You know what I mean? That's what it was like. This was what? This was like mid to late 70s.
Well, my issue is this, right? And this is just kind of just a common concept that has been known throughout all of history, just about. Women know that displaying their flesh is sexual in nature. They know this. This isn't something that's foreign to them in concept. They know. And so for a woman to be dressed in that way, even inside of her room in the presence of a man, she understands the implications of that. And therefore, there are a lot of women who try to keep things that are essentially ambiguous. And this is what has happened really since first wave feminism. People say second wave, but no, it's actually started with first wave feminism. They want to keep things essentially ambiguous so that they can have what I like to think of as plausible deniability, to be whimsical, really, so that they can change their mind at any given point. That's problematic in my view.
Well, but at the end of the day, I think, the point of the show for me is this. I don't give a fuck how many rules, laws, norms, administrators, policies, presidents, feminists, whatever. You could come with all of that, but you're not going to change human nature. And these women are selling sex. A lot of these women are selling sex, and it's a dangerous business. Okay, it always has been. It always will be. Okay, this is why I said yesterday in relation to what I was talking about, like this idealization of bonobo culture and shit like that. Like the bonobos solve their conflicts through sex. So if they have an argument or just tension or some shit like that, they just get to screwing or something like that. Okay, these people ain't ready for that.
Well, that's just one. I don't even know. And this has been a while since I've looked at it, but I could have swore that bonobos have been on the way out for a long time.
But you know, look, the human species are not bonobos. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not. Okay, we should know that by now. Now I mean, they use bonobo culture as what could be for primates. You know, the descendants or the evolutionary offspring or offshoots of primate culture or primates.
They try to beg the question, which is lazy. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is if you in that business, man, be ready to protect yourself, know what you're selling, and then you know you're gonna attract the ragtag element. It's just like, you know, you dealing, like if you selling dope, somebody gonna try to take your shit at some point.
Well,
it's part of the business. You're gonna have to either deal with the police, the jack boys, or fiends doing some shit that they ain't got no business doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
the bottom line, it's a dangerous business.
But you know what, GG? Check this out. In the 70s, right, in the throes of the feminist movement, right, there have been so many older girls that my uncles knew who they introduced to me. Okay, we swapped spit. Okay, they flirted with me because I was a young boy, young teenage boy. They were older teenage girls. Okay, and they had some nice bodies on them. They look decent too, you know. So when I flirted, when I reciprocated, okay, it didn't go to the point of coitus. But what I'm saying was, like, when I reciprocated, as far as the flirtation, as far as the kissing, you know, as far as getting the grip on that ass a little bit, I did that, and nobody fussed about nothing.
Well, look, let me say this. I think the situation that we're in now with modern day women is that their sexuality is the drug, and they're so more addicted to that, you know what I'm saying, that lifestyle, and, you know, using sexuality in a mechanism where they think it's going to benefit them, where even with the evidence showing how dangerous it is, they're willing to take that risk. You know what I'm saying? It feels like that it's like a casino. And this is one of the things I think brothers need to really understand is that sisters and just women in general are basically playing Russian roulette, in my opinion. And we should be mindful of it. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, with all the evidence and all the things we've seen through social media, through obviously Gorilla, and just so many other brothers who are speaking about this, I think brothers need to face the reality that, you know, at this point, let them hang themselves.
Yeah, because it's the dark side of hypergamy.
Yeah, it's the dark side. And one of the things is that we've seen this, right? Especially men who have seen war or seen societies that basically have a complete dominance over women, right? Yeah. And when things get out of control. And it's like you see the Western nations and Western women really want to play with that, you know what I'm saying, put their hands on the stove. And we're seeing it slowly. A lot of women are getting burned, right? And even through now, as we go into this new economic reconstruction, it seems that women are taking even more risk. And the sad part is there's not enough men to even, one, there's not enough men. Two, there's also not enough men who want to even indulge in that behavior because they know they can lose a lot more. And three, they're just going to be sacrificial lambs.
But you know, hey man, like, look, you know, the last thing I would do is be pushing up on an Instagram model. You know what I'm saying? That just wouldn't be my. First of all, I couldn't fuck with one of them, no way, because you basically know what you're doing. You showing your ass for money. That's the way you get bread. Okay, and you selling sex, and you know, like, if
Well, let's say it like it is. She's prostituting herself online. Very simple.
and guys are jacking off to these images and shit like that, man. And so if that's what and I ain't saying every woman I deal with, I'm making my wife or something like that. That's not the case either. But I mean, damn, at least, at least let me have the comfort of knowing that, while I'm hitting it, you ain't gonna, necessarily be going to give it the next 30 minutes to somebody else, especially if I'm courting you or something like that. You know what I mean?
No. What
But
she
I mean,
wants,
some dudes. But I got partners, man. Like they have fuck with whores. Like I'm just like, and with no reservations and inhibitions. Like, okay, I'm about to give me a broad tonight, point blank.
Did they wrap it up? Jesus Christ! Holy shit!
I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, and they, I ain't gonna,
like,
you
don't
know what I'm talking about, so it don't matter.
Did they date him, or did they just
no dating?
Okay,
no.
well, I was confused. Like, fill me
no,
in.
no. They like, I'm about to get me a broad tonight for my sexual pleasure. Thank you, ma'am. Here's your bread.
For a nice dinner first.
No, ain't no dinner, none of that.
Okay.
Just straight up, saying there ain't no escort service. Ain't no we gonna play a pretty woman with this. No. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking you to the telly mode, and it's gonna be a cheap one at that. You're gonna rock me off, and you getting out or in the car.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Gotcha.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Holla at you. No, that ain't never really been my cup of tea because I know all the risks associated with that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But some guys are into that. You know what I'm saying? Like with different kinds of people. Some men, on the DL, going to date trans people or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, Malik Yoba or something like that. Or not Funk Master, but what's the one dude? One of the dudes that used to, I think he DJ'd for Biggie or made a record for Biggie or something like that. I can't remember, man. But it's a lot of guys out. It's a lot of guys out there, man. That they get on that tip, man, and then, that's what they own, bro. Like, but
I don't want to go down this road, but
I'm just saying.
In terms of promiscuity, though, I mean, I figure it this way: like, we live in the era of extreme sexual promiscuity. This is really right now. We live in an era where you can't even trust necessarily your own partner, people that you are supposed to be in committed relationships with. But part of the reason why we see such large divorce rates is really in tune with this. It's in alignment with this. Women having 4 and 5 and 6 different baby daddies. Can you really say that they're being quote unquote monogamous, or are they fucking multiple dudes at the same time and just not always having children because of it? Let's be honest here. We like to think that we're the only ones hitting it, but right now in this time period, things are pretty insane. How can you expect fidelity? You can expect fidelity out of your girlfriend no more than you can expect fidelity out of a whore. To be quite honest, that's just the era that we live in.
Well, and you know what? All I'm gonna say is that's a shame. Only because think about it, bro. You know how hot women get when they see another woman push up on you. I done had women just have fits. You know what I'm saying? Like if a woman flirted me at a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? I done had waitresses flirt at me, you know what I'm saying? And the waitress was wrong or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like when women do that shit, they know they wrong to the other woman. They know that shit. Just like a man would be wrong if you pushing up on a chick and she with a dude. You know what I'm saying? But some people are just ignorant like that. But I done had women go like spastic, like, hold on, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? You let her light your cigar, like, nigga, I'm like, hold on, man, what the hell you tripping off of? You taking it too far. You know what I'm saying? But women are the same way. They get jealous over their mates just like men do. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole idea, that men are being possessive, to me is absurd. It is, but when you put your sexuality out there like that for cash, I ain't saying it, like you can do it, but just understand that there's a danger associated with it. That's all I'm saying. And if you ain't aware of this danger, you can't moralize the danger away from the objectification and the commodification of sexuality. You cannot do it.
Well, check this out, Gigi. Check this out, Gigi. Over here in the Republic of Finland, where I live, and I've seen it over a few years, I did an experiment, right? this pop-up, this email came in, right? And it was talking about, women of different ages, and basically they wanted to have sex, right? And so they asked for your profile, how old are you, this, that, and the other thing. And they asked a little bit about you. Okay. And I did an experiment. I went through all that, registered and everything. And do you know, this site, there were women as young as 21. Okay. They knew my age. They knew I'm in my 50s, right? And there are women as young as 21 years of age talking about they want a mature man, they want an older man, right? All of them had the same line. I want to have sex tonight. I want to have sex tonight. Period. Do you want to? Okay, well, click the button. You hear me? This has been going on for years
Hey
here,
man,
man.
hey, look, let me say this, man. I have never online done any of that ever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 50, but I've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had to. It's like, okay, like
Well, I
just,
never had to.
it's
I
like,
never had
okay,
to.
I just, I
I'm
know it's a
happily
new
married
age.
today.
I ain't
I
never
couldn't
slid it.
believe what I
I
was
have never slid it into anybody's DM.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Like, to me, it's an insult. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I step to a lady in real world life, but I ain't stepping into nobody's DM. To me, that's just, that's like me being a sucker to me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't do it, man. But at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is say, look, man, it's danger associated with whoring, man. Understand that. Like, and whether it's internet whoring or real world whoring, there's still a danger associated with that shit because you fucking around with some primal instincts.
You know what? You're a nice person. You know, all I got to say about it is hoes mad. That's it. Hoes stay mad. I don't really care.
Gorilla, I think what's going on in the world is that a lot of people are basically using the internet as a way of, expressing themselves, right? Like, it's like trolling, right? But we have a new way of sexual trolling because we've gotten to the point where, because of COVID, we've removed ourselves, right? So now we're like, let's be more conspicuous through the camera, right? Because now we can create this facade, and I think that's what's happening with a lot of sisters and women in general, right? They want to create more of a facade because now they're in a situation where, you think about it, right? A great percentage of Western women are not having children by choice. Their social skills or social dating skills have been inept, and then you add the fact that a lot of men don't even want to partake in it because they're looking at it like, okay, especially in Western world, if I take this risk, I can lose 50% or more. So why even put myself in that situation? And I think that's why you started seeing a lot more brothers doing the sex dolls, or, you know what I'm saying, they just dealing with hoes, because at least they know we live in a reality. And a lot of sisters, and you know what I'm saying, don't. They want to play in that delusional, deceit, you know what I mean, deception type mindset, where that's how a lot of people, I could tell you when I was in Arizona and I was hearing that they average about 400 kidnappings a week. Especially, yeah, it's really like, and mind you, Arizona, in my opinion, and obviously predominantly white, they have one of the most attractive women in the U.S. And then when I spoke to some of the law enforcement guys, they're like, yeah, especially when college season comes back, those cartel guys are ripping and running, snatching these girls up. And and the way they get them is through social media, through TikTok. They start to see their, you know what I mean? Oh, they're flirting, and then they'll just be like, oh, the guy in the DM. Oh, let's hang out. And they're snatching it on.
Yeah, you don't know these people in your DMs, man. You don't have any reference to them. You don't know them. They could be catfishing. You don't know their backgrounds. You don't know where they live. You don't know what they look like for real. Man.
And this is the thing, really, like,
well, that's why OnlyFans got so hot, right?
Well, and that's what I'm saying, because now this is where I've said this before, that delusional deception mindset has carried over into their mind so deep, where they just playing this Russian roulette and they don't even know what's on the other side. They think they do, right? Because I got all these men spending money, but then all it takes is one dude to get you to come outside that comes inside that house, come outside for dinner, and then next you know, what are you gonna do when you got a black bagger over your head?
We were talking.
Dateline NBC.
And you know what? One of the worst things about it, the female porn stars, right? They do this shit too. Okay.
Well,
you know,
Snipe, let's say this. At least what I've noticed, a lot of female porn stars have actually been very outspoken. Like they make it very clear to these young girls
yeah,
that you guys are doing something that we do this as a profession, right? But
right.
we don't take it to this fake conceptual concept into reality, because
Right.
in our world we know the dangers, right? And it happens. You see I mean, how many more documentaries we going to hear about a porn star thought she was gonna make it, she get ran through, next thing you know, she's STD'd out, she's damaged, her mind is gone, and it stems from some, you know what I mean? And you know, and then it's like you got the 9 to 5 girl, the college girl who's like, oh, I want to dabble in that, and the porn star is telling her, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the crazy part.
I've seen videos of porn stars on the porn site telling girls and telling young men and young women, hey, listen, okay, sexually transmitted diseases are real. Protect yourself. Damn it, man, use a condom. Damn it, woman, go to the fucking gynecologist and get yourself cleared up if you got some shit. Okay? Check yourselves. Okay? If you fucking a lot, check yourselves. You're sexually active, check yourself. Go to the gynecologist. For the young men, if something ain't feeling right, you better go to the clinic and get yourself checked out.
And that's
these are female porn stars that are saying this. They know the game.
Yeah, with that,
I would argue you cut out James, but I would argue the game is different. You guys are. I mean, I guess I understand where you're coming from, because as older men, obviously, there's a difference in connection to this sort of reality that we're living in, because obviously you're not in it. When you're a little bit younger, our perception is essentially in the mud, because the thing is that a lot of these women have the access to being essentially porn stars without going the whole mile. However, they think that there's a barrier in between them and the negative consequences associated with being in that industry. And so
we saw this when OnlyFans temporarily announced the ban on pornographic content. You had a lot of women claiming that they needed some kind of compensation for basically being quote unquote let go, when in fact they were themselves independent contractors, but they felt entitled to some sort of payment. And that's why OnlyFans eventually buckled down and said, you know what, that ban on porn, never mind, because that makes us a shit ton of money.
Well, it's like this is a separate issue, but I'll speak to it real quick if that's all right, Gigi.
Yeah, go ahead, man. And then after this, we're going to let it go, because I've been to 2-hour mark, and, you know, I'm only going for 2 hours. So,
all right.
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate it. Sorry to take so much of your time.
Oh, no, bro. You're very welcome, man.
I appreciate that, brother. But in terms of OnlyFans, right? I think that unfortunately they realize that I guess depends on how you view it, right? From the male or female or feminist perspective or through our lens. The thing is that they don't really have a business model outside of the whole light industry. They really don't. And they realize this. They thought that they could go mainstream, but the issue is that their entire fan base is built up off of hoeing. How you turn that around? Truth is that you can't. You can't make those dollars make sense. You can't do it. So unfortunately, they're stuck in a negative feedback loop where they have no choice but to continue this model if they hope to have any future success, and they have to hope this model becomes sustainable for the long term. That's really all they got. There's no more rabbits to pull out of the hat as far as OnlyFans is concerned. Even if you try to throw stars into the mix, there's already a generally understood concept that people go to OnlyFans for essentially sex light, whole light. That's what people go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, well, you know, what they say, man, It's a lot of free porn out here, man. I don't know what the fuck you pay. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you gotta consume porn, that shit is free.
It is free.
Well, shit, we got
It's
adult,
the
we got adult
personal.
TikTok over here, man. And that's what they're advertising too. They're doing the same damn thing as OnlyFans and on TikTok.
It's the idea behind hiring an escort versus hiring a straight up prostitute off the street. What's the difference, right? Most men that don't peruse that sort of environment wouldn't know, but there is a distinct difference. One is the personalized, exclusive experience versus something that is just off the cuff, one time, you bang her out, you're done. That's the difference. So a lot of these guys are essentially having tailor-made photos and videos that are exclusive to them versus, something that they pick up from the bottom of the barrel. Does it make any sense?
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it, man. But it ain't that serious to me. You feel me? That's
But
just
I
me, though.
agree. I don't disagree. I'm just saying.
no,
But
I'm just saying.
But
I'm like,
I was gonna say, PK. One of the things I'll say this, right? No matter what the age difference is, there's always going to be a reality and there's always going to be a consequence. And one of the things that I think a lot of these girls who dabble in that world fail to understand that the more you try to push the envelope on OnlyFans, the more you put yourself at risk. And this is where it's like they don't understand there's a cap, right? And the same thing I would say, where again, I don't think OnlyFans, that system's going to last, just for the simple fact that if you just look at the financial laws, anything with solicitation and sex is actually banned. And it's just only a matter of time, right? When narratives change and things change, and then, you know what I'm saying, they tighten up the loop, because technically, we on the federal books, prostitution is still illegal, right? And if this thing pushes to another level, I wouldn't be surprised if government, U.S., basically dangles that little cord around and then yokes everybody, you know what I'm saying, that's involved. So
these hoes got to get money too. I can guarantee you over the next 10, 20 years, prostitution will become legal whether you like it or not. Even though we believe that this is going to become illegalized, and I understand the belief system behind that, the ultimate truth is, and this is going to sound kind of sad, but the truth is that these doors are going to open more and more as the job situation continues to tighten up. They're going to have to do something. And one of the ways for them to do something is to
Police
sell that ass.
appropriation.
No, they're gonna sell that ass.
well, yeah, I mean, you're always going to get ass being sold, but I think it's not even more of a belief system, bro. I really don't think I just think it's just like anything else, right? The United States will let you, dance with the devil for a little bit, and then next, they pull the cord.
Well, we'll see. They'd have to pull back a lot of other things for them to decide to pull that back. The only reason they decide to pull back, for instance, the whole quote unquote child pornography thing in relation to what was those two? What were those other two websites that were selling sex like directly? What was it? Backpage and
Yep.
Craigslist.
Yep.
The reason that they ultimately decided to do that because they wanted to essentially rein in a lot of basically a lot of negative female nature. That's what they were trying to do. But the thing is that they realized that, unfortunately, they dangled, child sex in front of it, trying to justify it. But the truth is that they did that for a reason. And so now they're starting to realize that, the economy will not support that. And unless they can essentially shake up the system and essentially roll back everything, they have no choice except for to push forward with this and allow it. So they have one or two options to go with. So maybe, but I doubt it. I don't think that this government is prepared to essentially pull sex off the table because they realize that's one of the few things that men are willing to spend their money on.
Well, I don't
even if the price does go down.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that. I think it's you got to look at it from a macro picture, right? And the macro picture is when you start to dabble on that level, there's drugs, there's violence, and there's, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's one of those things where the government alone, if they can seize something, just like they can seize cartel money, they can see, you know what I'm saying, any type of large drug and just not display it. It goes hand in hand, just like, the Jeffrey Epsteins and all these things that circulate with one another, right? Because it's just the dark side of what the world really is. And I think
we're going too far left field, man. Save this for Saturday, man. I hope that GG comes along as well and sees us on Saturday, and we can talk about it then. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. Just send me a link, man. Hit me up on the email. I'll come holler at y'all anytime. Just gotta invite me, man. I don't go. I'm like a vampire. I don't come in the house unless you invite me in.
Okay. All right. I'll send you a link on. Let me see what. Do I have your email?
It's G with a PhD at gmail.com.
Okay. Well, I will definitely. Well, I'll save it now, and I'll hit you up on Saturday, and we could continue this particular offshoot or drift come Saturday.
Yeah,
'Cause I don't want
we
to.
talking
Yeah.
a mile a minute now. But I mean, I appreciate you brothers for coming through and having this conversation with me. And I want to thank everybody in the chat, all the dissidents. Thank you for coming and listening, and not going ham in the chat.
Gigi, can I say one more thing? It's a short statement.
Go
It's an
ahead.
old statement. I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely too old for this shit, man. But what I ain't too old enough for is to be wise enough about foolishness. And so,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, man, you play with fire, you're bound to get burned. You fucking around with fire when you fucking around with sex. Period.
That's true.
And you gotta. That's why I said it's important for people to look at the old traditions and to see how people govern, the regulation of sex through mores and through religion and through social practices. Right now, it's a free for all, and it's cool, but you don't know what the externalities are associated with that. You know what I'm saying? So it be what it is, man. So it be what it be. But again, man, thank y'all for coming through, man.
Thank you,
It's
Gigi.
GG. I had a good time, man. If anything else, man,
Appreciate it, man.
I had a rocking good time. You know what I'm saying? It's time for me to get up on out of here, man.
All right, brother. Peace.
So
All right. Salute, Gigi.
salute to y'all, man. I'll be back tomorrow, man, with another topic. So
All
at
right.
any rate, man, y'all be good, man. Till the next
All
one.
right.
Peace.
Peace.